people? It's Chris with Profoto, and this is Geared Up. It's our weekly live broadcast where we talk about gear, lighting, techniques, we do breakdowns, have fun, take your questions, and talk about lighting.
Question. Is your mic off? Boo-boo.
Is my mic off? Can you not hear me?
No.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, my mic was muted. At least you caught it early, right?
Yeah, welcome.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Geared Up. I'm going to say this again. It's our weekly live broadcast where we talk about gear, lighting techniques, we do breakdowns, have fun, take your questions. Today, we're talking about a new piece of equipment, the Profoto D30. I'm going to go over kind of what it is, what it does. If you have any questions, let me know. I'm going to do some size comparisons so you can understand like how big it is in comparison to like a D3 or a B10X Plus. And again, just kind of break down everything that this thing does, some cool things about it, and whatnot. So first and foremost, the thing you're going to see is that it has the Profoto look and feel, especially of the series that's kind of supposed to line up with, which is the B10 series. So the D30 looks a lot like the B10 series. Granted, I have the optional handle on here right now, but normally, here, if I kind of block this with my hand and move my black shirt out of the way, it normally looks like that, right? I just have the handle on that because I like the handle. So again, super compact like a B10 series would be, so it allows you to kind of take it with you. So if you need to go from one place to another place and shoot really, really quickly, you can. The one thing to know, this is a D30, not a B. So if in the world of our lights that use our 100 millimeter mount here on the front, if it has the letter B in it, that means it's a battery powered unit. If it does not have the letter B in it, it is not battery powered. This has a D in it. It's a plug-in unit. Upside for that is it's a little bit cheaper, $200 cheaper than a 500 watt B series. But when you have something like mains power, you're going to get the ability to have faster recycle speeds. So this thing recycles pretty quick, like half a second. Really powerful little unit at 500 watt seconds, especially for most in-studio uses. 500 watt seconds is plenty. If you find yourself in need of more power just because of the way that you shoot, then the D3 is probably where you need to look for that light. But again, for the most part, 500 watt seconds, especially inside, is plenty of juice. So again, we have a plug-in unit, AC powered, monolight, really compact, really slim. And we did some other cool little modifications to it. So the new stand adapter is heavily reinforced. What that is going to allow the D30 to do is handle much heavier modifiers, including 4x6, soft boxes, 5-foot octas. You could throw the 180 soft zoom onto it, and this thing's not going to flex at all. It'll hold it just fine. Again, some heavy reinforcement down here on the light stand side of it. That also gives you the ability to detach the bottom just like you would normally do with the B10. Same kind of screw on, screw off stand adapter, but again, you're reinforced down here at the bottom. This is also where you will you'll unscrew the plate that comes with the unit if you decide to put the handle on, and then the handle comes with the handle itself and some screws that are longer to allow them to go through and penetrate into the frame of the actual flash itself. But very, very robust. So we've talked about the power on it. We've talked about that it plugs in. We've talked about kind of what it's for in the handle. Let's move to the front of the unit. So unlike the B10, the front of the D30 faceplate is removable. So I could take this off right here on screen and hopefully not drop the glass plate. There we go. So the front plate is removable. What that's going to allow you to do is a couple of things. The first thing, and I think most importantly, is replace your flash tube yourself. So if, heaven forbid, you lose your flash tube, you could probably just buy a spare one. I generally would tell people to have a spare one in your studio just in case. You can buy a flash tube and have it at the ready if the time arises and you need one. So that's really, really nice. So again, having that flash tube to be able to put in yourself is great. The other thing it allows you to do, I should have actually brought this out onto my table, and I did not. I believe it's here in my, yes, it is. What it also allows for is use with the dome attachment that honestly came out with the D1. I don't know that it's called it anymore, but like on the box that I pulled out, it's called the D1 dome cover. And it just slides into the slots like this.
So you remove the flap.
So you remove the front cover, and then now you have a dome attachment. Oh, I've unplugged it with my big fat foot. So let's get that plugged back in. So what this is going to allow you to do is spread the light out a little bit more inside of a modifier. It's not going to give you the full effect of having the actual flash tube out here into the dome, but it will fill certain modifiers, especially beauty dishes, a little more efficiently, which is nice. So, but you have the option for the dome attachment, which is very cool. The back of the unit feels a lot like a B10 because for the most part, we've gone to that user interface. It's simple. We want you to be able to take a light out of the packaging and be able to use it within a matter of minutes. We don't really want you to have to go through a manual. We don't think that a light should have to do that. Your equipment should be self-explanatory. If there's any like super technical things, we have all that information available if you need it. But for the most part, you should be able to fire this thing up, get into a menu system that uses words and not codes or anything like that. Go in there, select what it is that you want, and get out of there. Power up and down, all that good stuff. Modeling light on and off, so continuous light. This one has the bicolor continuous light that you get on the B10, B10X Plus, that kind of stuff. 3,800 lumens on the continuous light, which is nice. So you have some good light output. It does have a fan inside of it. So if you're going to use this to roll video, which is totally capable of doing, I would suggest using it for things like B-roll and stuff like that. Things where audio may not be so critical. Or if you're in a situation where you have audio, but again, it's not super critical that there's not any fan noise. After a while, this thing running at full blast, it's going to want to cool the unit off a little bit. But still, it's LED, so it doesn't get too terribly hot. Control-wise on the back, you have this dial here that gives you 1/10 of a stop control. If you've ever used Profoto stuff before, this should be all things that you're familiar with. 1/10 of a stop control, but if you want coarse tune control, you can press the dial in and turn it all the way through an 11-stop range. So you can go from 10 to 0.9. Real fast for people who might be new to this, who want to understand the power range or how power works on a Profoto light. 10 on a Profoto light is full power. 9 is half power. 8 is quarter. 8th, 16th, 32nd, all the way down through the rung. Most people think that the 5 setting is half power on a Profoto light. It is not. It's 1/32nd power. Everything for us works in stops. So if you go from 10 to 9, you've gone down a stop. You've halved the power. If you go to 9 to 8, you've gone down another stop. You have to half that again. So now you're down to quarter power and so on through the range. So that's how the Profoto power system works. Full power, 1 stop down is half power, another full stop down, you half that again to quarter power, again to 8th, 16th, 32nd, all the way down. So you have a huge power range, which is nice. So 500 watts at 10, and then you get to turn this thing down, and then if you just need to kiss a little light into your scene, maybe you just need to be really subtle with your flash, you have a huge power range to choose from. Again, you also have the bicolor continuous light, so you have the ability to roll a little bit of video. If you need something tungsten, you can go that route. If you need to go daylight, you can go that route. So pretty easy stuff. Let's talk about some more connectivity things on this.
Can I throw in a question?
Oh yeah, throw in a question. What's up?
So let's see. Can you hear me all right? Yeah. Okay. So Chris and crew, hello.
Hi.
Good to see you with the brand new product. Do you consider Profoto D30 an entry level to Moonlight system, and why is it just 500 watts?
Just for the record, my word processing stuff also autocorrects everything that I do to Moonlight. I finally just had to go in and be like, hey, I had to go in and be like, hey, monolight is a word. So like, we're gonna roll with that. So it's like saved into my, saved into my word. No, it does it to everything. So I am also a Moonlight victim. So I knew what you meant. Is this an entry-level monolight? I wouldn't say it's an entry-level monolight. Your entry-level monolight's probably gonna be this, your A2. Oh, hold on, we'll come out. Let's go back here. We're backing up. Here, this is gonna be your entry-level monolight. Now this is battery powered, but this is honestly our entry-level tier into the monolights. be it though battery powered as opposed to AC plug-in. This is going to be your entry level for AC plug-in Monolights, but if you're talking about overall entry into the Monolight world, the A2 is actually going to be that. So this is a little bit more robust of a light. It does, again, it gives you a lot of power, which it could be too much for someone just getting into flash. It might not be. But again, 500 watts is a good amount of juice. You still, again, you have that range to turn it way, way down, but it just has some features that aren't necessarily entry level. So another thing that I was talking about in connectivity, hopefully that answered your question. If I need to elaborate, just let me know. Some other things on the connectivity side. Down here at the bottom, you have your USB port for firmware upgrades, but there's also a little dot. You probably can't see it.
The handle's kind of blocked.
Let me see if I can get in close. Let me see if I can get in close. We're gonna do extreme close up, Wayne's World style. No, I'm just gonna jam. I'm gonna jam in here. It's probably not enough light. You know, we're gonna go cam 5 because guess what?
You're tethered.
I'm tethered to an AC outlet. Here we go. We're gonna try to see if you can see any of this stuff here. No, it's fine. So here at the bottom, oh, you can kind of see it. You can kind of see it. So here's a USB-C port for firmware updates, your AC power plug. And there's a little spot right, see if I can get it for you. If I'm blocking it, there's a little spot right there. It's a PC port, so you can plug in external triggers if you need. So it has connectivity for external triggering as well. Something that also probably is not going to be on the entry-level side, because for the most part, people are going to use the Air system and just utilize the remotes on the inside of this thing. Something that popped up on the quick Q&A that we had yesterday on Instagram is, does this cable, the AC block, the ability to go vertical with the light? Yes, it does. If you put the handle on there, it blocks it even more, so you can't go totally vertical. But our lights actually for quite a while have had this. That's not the best way to go vertical. The best way to go vertical is to utilize this post hole right here in the front of the light. So you just keep the stand straight, put the light in, and now you're totally vertical. So if you need the light to point straight up, that's the way you do it. Use it on the side there, and you can also flip it down to point it straight down if you need to. But that's how you go vertical with it. It's not necessarily about bending the light stand adapter using the actual post hole in the front. Cool.
Can I give you another question?
You can give me another question.
Absolutely. Okay. So let's see. So Nick wants to know, can you compare the flash duration to the D2? The D2 flash duration seems to be faster. Excited to get a D30.
Yeah, so so I don't remember the flash duration of the D2 off the top of my head. I believe it was 55,000th of a second on the it's probably not on the thing anymore, so it's now that I'm starting to remember, it was 55,000th of a second on the 1,000 watt unit, and on the 500 watt unit, I believe it was 163,000th of a second. So if you need those type flash durations, that's where, to be honest, this thing comes in. This is the D3. I left this up here too to bring this in so we could actually do size comparisons here in just a second, because everyone loves a nice size comparison. But if flash duration is the thing that's mission critical for your job, the Pro D3 is probably still the light for that. So that being said, the flash durations on this are nothing to scoff at. You're talking about one at T5, you're talking about one, I believe it's 21,000th a second, like a little bit over that. And at I think T1, off the top of my head, I believe it's 9,800. 1/9800th of a second. So pretty fast. So again, if the name of the game for the way that you shoot is flash duration, and you're looking for a brand new light with all the new tech and stuff like that, the Pro D3 is gonna be the move there. But again, this thing is definitely not bad in that department. Sorry, I'm gonna put this glass plate back on the front of it, so I'm just gonna tilt it up a little bit. So if I drop it, I drop it down and not to the ground. So, but again, it's nice that you have the ability to do this again. Big, big W. Okay, let's get that in there. You know what? I probably shouldn't show you guys this, but I use my tweezers sometimes whenever the little thing is holding on pretty good. So don't do that. Use your fingers. I don't think I'm supposed to use a tool. Anyway, I digress. So we've talked about the front, talked about your flash tube. We've talked about the connectivity at the bottom. Oh, you know what? Let's talk about this in the connectivity. So some people may want to take this with them on location, and maybe you find yourself maybe need to go outside and take some shots. You know, this thing is $200 cheaper than a B10. You could, if you have one, take something like this. This is my little battery unit that I use for things. I don't just use it for, I don't really use it for lighting that much because I have battery powered units that go with me, but this is great for, you know, charging my laptop or like having other batteries on the charge if I need just in case. But the cool thing is I can plug this thing in AC to the side of it. Here, we'll do that. Let's power this thing up. I don't know which one is my D30. I unplugged my D3, cool. We got the D30, we're gonna plug it into the side of this bad boy. And cool, we are, this is something that I wanted to show. Oh wait, I take it back. I didn't turn on the AC outlets. Cool, it actually, I believe it's even at full speed. You can see that we are now powered up off of my little EcoFlow battery. Trying to see, let's see what happens whenever I turn on continuous light, what it says.
You mean you go wide?
You can. So the cool thing is this little battery looks like if I keep this continuous light on at full blast, I'm gonna get 6 hours of battery time out of that thing just running the continuous light, which is kind of cool. So it does a really, really good, you have options for taking this thing on location. These batteries can handle a lot of stuff. But what's really cool is if you need to, you can go into the menu system of the unit. I don't know how backwards this thing's gonna be for y'all, but you can go to the menu system of the unit and you can actually go here to speed and you can turn down your recycle speed. So depending on what your portable generator or battery can handle as far as like amp draw, you can go in here and you can turn down your recycle speeds. And now some units that might have a difficult time handling the power draw from the flash, this slows it down and kind of makes it a little bit easier on those units. So now, you know, if I wanted to fire off some flashes off of this battery unit, here, let's go to full power and see what happens. I've never fired my flash off this, so if this thing blows up, we get to do it live. But no problems.
Yeah.
So whenever it does the power draw for the flash, it drops my battery usage down to an hour. I don't know how many flashes I get off of that, but that's me full power flashing this thing 500 watt seconds off of this portable generator.
What's the name of
no
that?
problem.
Someone was asking.
So I use an EcoFlow. The EcoFlow one's really, really good. There's a lot of companies out there that make them. Jackery, I know, has some. What's cool about these things too is, and granted, I haven't done the testing to see how long it takes to kind of recycle everything, but you can plug in a solar panel to it too. So if you wanted to try to make up some of that charge while you're on location, they make little portable solar panels that you plug into it too. Again, I can't imagine this going to charge it very fast, but hey, if you need some extra juice, you can do that with these things, which is kind of cool. So I think I paid $200 for that thing. So the price for like this thing and that thing together are the price of a B10. But if you would prefer having something where you have a plug-in unit where you have faster recycle speeds, because maybe that's more of the name of the game for you when you're in the studio, then this might be the better direction to go as opposed to going with something like the B10 to have dedicated power to the unit. Whereas the B10, you can plug in and shoot and charge at the same time, but you are trickle charging your battery, which isn't in the long term the best thing for a battery. So if you find yourself in the studio a lot, like way more than you are on location, it might be best for you to go the D30 route as opposed to the B10X Plus route, and getting yourself a little battery powered generator or gas generator on the side if you want, depending on how you like to roll. But this little EcoFlow thing does a great job. Again, Jackery, there's tons of brands out there that do them. I just happened to stumble across this one on sale, so and we use it for everything. So it's a great little unit, but just to show you, the D30 can easily be powered off of something like this. So we're gonna power that down, go back to mains power. Cool. Let's see, any other questions so far?
Let's see. Not so far.
Cool. So let's talk about size comparisons, just because some people are gonna wanna know. So compared to the, just weight-wise, if I tell you the weight right off the top. So the D3, here, sorry, tapping the wrong things, and the D30, This is 3 pounds heavier than the D30. So you're talking about, even with the handle installed on the D30, this thing's still under 5 pounds. Whereas this unit right here is about 8. So size-wise, portability-wise, the D30 definitely has the upper hand here. So if I hide that behind, so the actual the body of the D3 without the actual barrel for the light is the size of the D30, just off the jump, which is crazy. And then also the body is much larger. So, and to be expected, the D3 is made with some really, really, really heavy duty capacitors and internals and stuff like that, things that are meant to handle like heavy, heavy, heavy shooting. The D30 can handle quite a bit of shooting. It's just not, so if you find yourself in a situation where you're shooting thousands of shots a day over and over and over again, day in and day out, D3 is probably where you need to go first before you come to a 30. But for your standard everyday shooter, the D30 is going to...
See if that's the River 2.
Oh, it is. I think it's just the River 1. Are you looking it up for someone?
Yeah.
This is just the River.
We've had it for a couple of years.
It's the model EF4. I don't know if they make it anymore.
They do, like, they have the River 2, which is the upgraded.
Yeah, so the River 2 is out. I have the River 1. And it's great. And they make bigger ones, so if you go bigger, it's just going to give you more flashes on location. So the EcoFlow ones are really, really cool. And then they have the crazy ones, like the Solixes and stuff like that. They get wild. Like, you could spend more on the battery than you do on the flash. But then you can power your house if your power goes out. So, bonuses. So again, size-wise, you're going to be way more portable with something like the D30. Again, it gives you the ability to kind of take this in and out of the studio if you need. I guess the other cool thing about this too is, depending on how the size of one of these batteries that you get, again, this one, we should go and shoot with this thing on location.
Yeah, let's do it.
And just see how many flashes we get off of this thing. Because if you get it at the right size and you're getting the right amount of flashes, the upside for going this route is also having the ability to do things like plugging in your laptop or having some other stuff, or maybe you want to bring a monitor with you on location.
Yeah, I feel like we always just have it in the car.
Yeah, it's always with us. Yeah. There's always something that we were like, oh crap, we didn't charge that. So now let's talk about this in comparison to the B10X Plus. So B10X Plus, as you can see, they look pretty similar. Size-wise, if we go back to back, the front ring of the D30 is the actual extra extension from the B10. So they're almost the exact same size. D30 is definitely bigger. It's got, a little bit heavier duty internals. It's got a little bit bigger chassis to handle some of the extra weight of stuff, but still a very compact light. Same output though, 500 watts. Really, really nice stuff. Trying to think if I've missed anything. So we've talked about the front. We've talked about the power, the internals, the externals. One of the things that this also has inside of it now is what we have been calling eco mode. So when you pull this light straight out of the box, it's going to be in what's called eco mode. So what eco mode does is it charges your capacitors to 97%. So as opposed to you taking a full power flash and it going all the way back up to 100%, full power flash back up to 100%, eco mode is only going to bring them up to 97%. So if you were to a technical full power flash in eco mode would be like shooting 9.7 normally. So you're losing 0.3 tenths, or you're losing 0.3 of a stop in eco mode. If you need those 0.3 of a stop and you find yourself needing the power, you can go into boost mode. But what the eco mode is going to do is it's going to extend the life of the components inside the unit, because you're not having to push the capacitors all the time back to 100, draining them back to 100, draining them back to 100. You're going to get, I think, what is it, like 4 times the life out of your stuff is what our guys are saying. So the eco mode is going to come set there already. But if you need the full power of the unit, you can go into boost mode very, very simply. It's inside the menu system. You can do it here from the back of the unit, or you can go to the Profoto control app, which this has access to now. The D2 did not. This now has Bluetooth built inside of it, so you can update your firmware over the air. You can control the unit from your phone if you need to, very, very simply, which is nice. Trying to look through this thing really fast and see if I've missed anything. Oh, this was added on the D3, but I actually think this is kind of something cool to talk about on this unit. So we now have unit stats on.
Can you rotate it?
Yep, I can. You're probably not gonna be able to see it that well. Here, let me see. Let me bring it over here. Yeah, I'll just take it off. This light stand's messing with it. See, and then I unplugged it. This is great, guys. We're doing great.
Yeah.
I'm great. You're great. We're great. It's great. Cool. Let's get you plugged in.
So make sure you plug it in well.
Or just don't tangle it around your. Let's do this. Unit stats. So the cool thing about the unit stats is now, oh, that's gonna be. Let's see if I can get this. See if I can get this focused.
Hey, with us?
I'm just gonna see if I can get this focused real fast. There we go. Unit stats. So the cool thing about the unit stats is now you have information on how many flashes the flash has done so far, how long the run time's been going on, and how many times it's been powered up and powered off, which is really cool. It's nice information to have. You also have, for all the people who like to use the rail systems in their studio, you have automatic inversion. So if the light flips up to be on a rail system, it'll invert all the information automatically so you can see everything right side up, which is really, really nice. So you can disable that if you don't want it, but it is enabled from the jump on the D30. So the D3 also has that feature. So very cool stuff. I'm trying to think, did I forget anything? I don't believe I have. Cool. Any other questions from anyone?
Let's see. I noticed that both of these lights only have the zoom markers to 7.
Mm-hmm.
What if you need to zoom from 8 to 10, for instance, using a zoom reflector 2?
So great question. Fantastic question. So the zoom 2, the 8 to 10 that's on here. So what they're talking about here, let me come in close again for them to see. Now that I've sufficiently put this thing out of focus here, let's see, turn it aside.
It's perfect. You got it.
So right there's this label on the older reflectors, and what they have are numbers that show you at what number the beam angle coming out of the reflector is going to be.
Okay.
With the flat front lights, that indication is irrelevant. It doesn't work the same way, and it doesn't fill the reflector the same way. So honestly, that beam angle label is made for pro heads, acute heads, the older compact heads, things again with the protruded flash tube. So I wouldn't put too much stock into being able to get to 10 on the Zoom 2 reflector, because it's just not going to fill the reflector the same way, if you understand what I'm saying. So yes, it does have a more truncated. Now I will say this here. Let's talk about this. Let me grab a pro head. Here we go. One of the things to pay attention to is that the pro heads start at 4. So here we go. Pro heads start at 4, 4, 5, 6, 7. So they don't actually have a 1, 2, 3, 4 or a 1, 2, 3. So if we just line up the zoom positions here, let's just do this and see what we're looking like. So if we just line up the zoom positions, the 4 mark lines up with the 1 mark on these units. So technically, you're getting all the exact same hash marks, but as opposed to starting at 4, which I don't think probably makes sense for some people, you're starting at 1, so 1 through 7. So you're not technically losing those zoom points. The numbers are just different. And then again, these reflectors are made for protruded dome units. So like even here with this, and I guess maybe this is why this makes more sense. The collar's so long on these older reflectors because they have to get past the flash tube first before they even set onto the unit. So that's probably why they start at 4. Whereas now, oh, you know what? My Magnum's in the car. We had a shoot yesterday, and I left the Magnum in the car. Whereas things, oh, I've got my little zoom right here. This is perfect. Whereas things like the OCF Magnum and the OCF Zoom have a much shorter collar. So now, with these units that are made for the flat front stuff, you can kind of hit right at those numbers and you still have the reflector on there pretty good. So you still have kind of all the same zoom points, just kind of renumbered. So interesting stuff. Hopefully that answered that question for you.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think. We've gone through the front. We've talked about the inputs and outputs. We talked about some of the settings inside the flash, what it's for, 500 watt seconds. Recycle speed, about a half a second at full power. We've talked about plugging it into an external battery pack on location and how you can change the different speed modes. We have a reinforced bottom that allows for heavier modifiers, and I know that we talked about that. The handle is optional. I like the handle. You don't have to get it. If the way that you've used your B10 for all these years has been awesome and it's not an issue, don't worry about the handle. Here's another question that's probably going to pop up. Can you use the handle on your B10? No, the bottom of the B10 doesn't have the reinforced plate to screw anything into, and it actually doesn't even have the points to screw. So I don't know if I can show you this again. I guess I'm going to have to get close. We're going to get close again, but I don't actually need it plugged in. So let's do this. So though the stand adapter is very similar, we're going to go here to the side. Extreme close-up, Wayne's World style.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. So even though it has the same stand adapter for the most part, the B10, what you can see here, if I can get it here, see those 4 extra screws? So the bottom of the B10, let me grab a B10 so I can show you. The B10 does not have those.
Oh, Perry brought up a good point.
What's up, Perry?
Here. It says,
I agree. You mentioned it for everyone that needs more power should go with the D3. However, the weight and the size difference is huge for portability.
Oh, 100%.
So that could be a big deal for some photographers.
100%. No, you're very right.
Great point.
You're very right. But yeah, I guess the downside, if you think about it, the B10 only goes to 500 watt seconds. So even that being a battery powered unit. Now, if you're saying like you'd love to see a higher powered unit, you never know what the future holds. I mean, I think if the demand is there, you'll probably have a better chance of seeing it. It really comes down to, when we make this stuff, and I know that we're having this, again, Wayne's World extreme close-up, it really comes down to supply and demand. If it's something that people really, really want, the chances of us making it are really good. I think you saw that with the Fresnel Small that we discontinued for like a year or so. The demand was really, really high for it. It came back. So if the demand continues to grow for things like 1,000 watt second unit, maybe it comes to fruition. You never know. So now back to the bottom of the B10. So here at the bottom of the B10, that's a good little angle. Here at the bottom of the B10, you can see you just have your quarter 20 port for installing the actual unit itself. It has a placement pin here to make sure that the adapter doesn't swivel. And then this right here, that little port, that's just for you to use like a wrist lanyard in case somebody's like holding the light or something, or you could use like a safety tether or something. That's what that's for. So on the bottom of the D30, you have, on top of having, let me get back to the light so you can kind of see what's going on here. There we go. I think that's probably fine.
yeah.
So you have your main post to screw the stand adapter into. Then again, you have that positioning pin to keep it from twisting. But now you can see you have these 4 screws here. Those screws go into that reinforcement plate. There we go. Those 4 screws go into that reinforcement plate that allow for this unit to, again, handle those heavy-duty loads. And that's what sets this handle into place. And because the B10 doesn't have it, the handle doesn't apply. So for anyone who is thinking maybe I could put the handle on, which I was thinking of originally when they showed us the handle, that's why it can't go on there. Any other questions before we sign out of here?
Yeah, let's see here. Andy's asking.
What you got for me, Andy?
Let's see. Do you always have to use the app or the Wi-Fi flash transmitter? I.e., can you adapt PC cord
Yes.
from
This has a
film cameras?
From film cameras, absolutely. So, so 2 things. If you want to use a controller, I guess you would have to. If you wanted to use a remote, you have to use the original Air remote if you wanted to plug in. But this has a PC port at the bottom of it. So right here, I know you can't necessarily see, but I'm just going to kind of point to generally where it is. So here you have your USB-C port kind of off to the side, and then right next to it is a not a quarter 20, a 1/8 inch phono jack. So like a headphone. Before everything went USB-C for headphones, before wireless, just your standard headphone style jack, 1/8 inch, plugs into that for syncing via cord or another trigger or something. So yes, you can use your film camera with this unit right here.
Cool.
Anything else?
No, I think that's
Cool.
good. Yeah.
I think we covered everything. If you feel like I might have missed something, I probably didn't, or if I did, you can DM me. Caitlin will throw up my Instagram handle on the screen. But again, the D30, it's a great mid-range monolight, really lightweight, 5 pounds, 500 watt seconds. It's a lot of juice. For someone who was saying it'd be really nice to have 1,000 watt seconds.
Yeah.
If you just put this little reflector on there, the zoom reflector. Now I get it if you're going through like a softbox or something like that, maybe that's the issue. But if it's not necessarily about the light quality, it's more just about getting some power for something. If you throw this little zoom reflector on there and you line it up with the bell, this adds 1.2 stops of light. So now this light with this on the front of it is a little over 1,000 watt seconds. Effective output. And then if you throw the OCF Magnum on there, you're talking about almost 2,000 watt seconds effective output, which is kind of nice. So there are ways to get more juice. Now, again, if you're going through a soft box and that's why you want another stop of light, I get it. That doesn't work. Cool. But we've kind of gone through the ins and outs. If you have any questions, feel free to DM me. If you need to go back and kind of watch this and see what's up with it. But again, good mid-tier light, $2,000, not bad for a really robust flash with a lot of features. Again, change the flash tube yourself if you need to. You can use the dome attachment. It's got a PC sync port, able to handle all the weight of all the modifiers that we make. Just a really good all-around light. Handle is optional. Don't have to get the handle if you want it. It's like $100 extra. I like the handle. I like just being able to kind of like loosen the light and position the light with the handle that way. If you're a B10 user thinking about adding a light to your arsenal, it's a good one for in the studio if you don't need it to be, or if maybe you're shooting at a wedding, you shoot weddings and you know there's always a place you can plug mains power into. It's nice not to have to worry about the battery. I just had a point and I totally forgot what it was. But I'm sure it'll come to me. Nope, I forgot it again. I thought I had it. I had it and I lost it. So again, really good mid-tier flash, $2,000. You can plug it into an external battery. Awesome possum. Anything else before I say bye?
That's it.
All right. Thank you so much. We will see you guys next week on Geared Up. Peace out. Have a good one.